Okay, so here, always first thing you should always do anytime you do a word problem is define your variables. How many pounds of each should go into each batch of lion food? Sorry, how many pounds of each should go into each batch of lion food in order to minimize cost? So a batch of lion food must contain at least. So what we're doing is we're looking for grams of protein, grams of fat, and what we're looking for is giraffe meat and gazelle meat. So how many pounds of giraffe meat? All right, so X will be giraffe, and then Y will be gazelle. All right, so next, let's define our objective, which was to minimize cost. So our objective is to minimize our cost equation. So our cost should relate the giraffe and gazelle meat prices. So giraffe meat costs us $2 a pound, so $2 X times X. So $2 times the number of pounds. Y would be 4Y. I'm sorry, the gazelle, the cost of the gazelle would be $4 per Y. So there's our objective. So let's see if that matches what you said. You have your objective equation being this. So how is 39,600x, that's grams of protein, how is that related to cost? It's not. So I hope that helps you see why. Our objective is related to cost, so therefore this equation should be money. If you think about the units, this is $2 per pound, and we're multiplying it by x, which is the number of pounds. So therefore, when they divide, we'd just be left with the units of dollars. So that's another way of looking at it. Okay, so now for our constraint equations, these should somehow relate the other values. So one of our constraints is protein, and so see we need 39,600 grams of protein. So I'm going to write a protein equation. So 18 times x, and again using unit analysis, but we can see what that means. This is 18. It's 18, I think, grams. Yeah, grams per pound. 18 grams per 1 pound, and we're going to multiply that by x, which is measured in x pounds. So therefore, when our units divide, we're left with x times 18, which is the unit of grams. So this, when we do this math, it's going to, when I write 18x, it's going to leave me with units of grams, and more specifically, grams of protein. So when we do giraffe meat, we get 18 grams of protein per pound. When we do gazelle meat, we get 36 grams per pound. And our goal here is to have at least, so that means this stuff needs to be greater than or equal to 39,600. Then very similar for the other equation, if we're just now making a fat equation. So that's 36 grams of fat, 18 grams of fat, and again, at least carries over to the fat as well. So we're at least 59,400 grams of fat. So there's our objectives. Check for any other constraints. I don't see any. Sorry, those are our constraints. So check for any others. I don't see any. So then we're going to have our real world constraints. You can't have negative amounts of meat. And there's your setup.